I'm pressing the button, I'm holding the brake pedal, and nothing happens at all. Engine is not even cranking.
So the car is dead.
Did you know that time over time BMW releases technical campaigns to make your BMW even better and safer? Majority of those campaigns are totally free for the final customer, even if your warranty period is over. Hi all, I'm Vladimir, you're watching the BimDoc channel. In today's video I'll tell you about those different campaigns and how can you check your vehicle if there are any campaigns are available for you for free. First of all, what is technical campaign and why should you care about that at all? You can imagine that BMW produces whatever vehicle, for example, let's take BMW 5 Series in G30 chassis or F30, whatever platform, it doesn't matter. When the factory releases the vehicle, of course, the engineers are working hard to make it as good as possible, but with the experience, with the time goes, the engineers see, okay, actually they have made small mistakes there and here, and they, of course, they want to improve that. Sometimes some even serious cases are being discovered. For example, as on BMW E60, there is very serious issue with those negative cables of the battery that cause a lot of fires in BMW E60s. That's why BMW released a technical campaign that made dealers to change those negative cables for free. The easiest way how to check if any technical campaigns are available for a vehicle is to check it at BMW AOS system. It is after sales online system. To be more precise, have a look to the screen and I'll show you how does that portal look like and how to get access to that. So that's how our AOS system, after sales online system, looks like. Over here we can see all the information about all the possible BMWs in the world. The problem of that of course all the BMW dealers have access to that, and some workshops also who have purchased the access to that location. Just for information, for example, the price list for iOS portal, the latest changes were made in 2020 in July. Over here, actually, we don't need to purchase the full package from that. We need only access to the Air system. And as you can see, the access for 1 month costs 60 euros and for 1 year 417 euros. If you also, in addition to the Air portal, need to access to work with ISTA, the diagnostic software, the full license will cost you that much. Now you can see why BMW dealer charge a lot of money for basic diagnostics, because it's not cheap at all to have the licensed software. So in that portal, in the iOS portal, you have to go after the login information, you have to go to the Air portal. If you don't have access to the Air portal, your best bet will be visiting local BMW dealer. Usually they provide all that information about the campaign totally free of charge. You just need to tell them your VIN code and they will search if any technical campaigns are available for a vehicle or not. For example, today we'll be working with my BMW. It is F34 with B47 engine. Let's insert a VIN code of my vehicle. I'll just copy and paste it. Let's have a look here. So from the databases we can see that for my vehicle we have seen that a lot of times in my previous videos there are 2 technical campaigns available. Harris technical campaign and VIN-based goodwill. So what is the difference between those? The technical campaign, it means that something is really critical with that vehicle and a dealer have to make some actions according to that campaign for a vehicle. For example, for that technical campaign we can see that we need to reprogram the control unit, especially the DDE. It is ECU for diesel engine. Campaign status is open. We can even look for the details here. Over here are all the details according to that campaign. If you will work through that document, by the way, I'll save the PDF from that and I'll make a link in the description of the video so you can read it through in your own pace. But what does the campaign say? Says that after the time of exploitation of those engines on those chassis, So you can see the chassis will be whatever F series, not only F30, it will be F10, F20, F15, so basically all the vehicles who have B47 type engines, and actually B57 also. The engineers have discovered that it is not safe to use those vehicles with the current software in it. So basically the EGR system is exhaust gas recirculation system. It works not in the safe way. So when the temperature reaches to a specific parameter, sometimes even fire can be caused to the vehicle. That's why they have reduced the working temperature of the exhaust gases. The recirculation of the particle filter will not start, or actually will be terminated after certain criteria are met. How to know if your vehicle has to be updated or not? If you work through that document that I have saved for you in the PDF, you will actually see that you need to reprogram the engine ECU of your vehicle with the current databases. Depends on the platform, because I will be working today with F20 platform, because F34 goes under the F20, and we will see that I need to reprogram my vehicle with the ISTA version at least 4.35. I have the latest database available, it is 4.37, and we will be reprogramming with those. If you have any other platforms, you can also see that actually ISTA version 4.35 will work for you. I guess 4.35 it is something November of 2021 or March of 2022. Actually, yes, it will be March of 2022, something like that. So if your vehicle was programmed before that, you definitely need to reprogram your engine ECU. In that campaign, it is also written how to do that, and so on and so on. So the work we'll be doing today is reprogramming my engine ECU. This was the technical campaign. You have noticed that there is also win-based goodwill. What does that mean? You can see the status is open, and win-based goodwill. The engineers have discovered that specific EGR systems are made from the wrong materials, and they can cause fire in your vehicle. That's why it is not safe to use those. So if you visit dealer, they will exchange your EGR cooler, the whole system, completely for free if the part number of your EGR cooler is correct one. Some more details that obviously majority of you do not know. If you see the campaign number, you can see those 4 letters over here, SACC. It means if those numbers are inside the campaign number, the BMW dealer will not call you to invite to the visit to the BMW dealer. It means that only if you visit them and tell them that you have some issues, for example, you can smell the fumes of the exhaust gases in your saloon, then they will definitely expect the EGR cooler and they will replace that. Let's have a look to that campaign. I'll make the PDF of that document also and save it for you. So over here is written that some EGR coolers are not made from the proper materials and they need to be exchanged. So the defect code, so the part number, if it's that one, it will be exchanged completely for free. So the BMW factory will take care of that. And the campaign was open actually in already 2021. So if you have vehicle with diesel engine, B47 or B57, be aware that that campaign can also be available for a vehicle. What other useful information can we find in that portal? Just for information, I have still not reprogrammed my engine ECU. We'll be doing that today together with you. But I have already visited the dealer for the exchange on EGR cooler. And actually, if you scroll down, you can see a lot of useful information for the vehicle, whatever it has in it and so on. And actually, if you will open up the vehicle history, BMW dealer can also provide it for you if you are the owner of the vehicle. And actually, we can see the latest done jobs. For example, in that summer, in June of 2022, I was already visiting the BMW dealer, and they have replaced my EGR cooler, and actually it was completely free for me. So all the expenses went to the BMW factory. So now I have brand new EGR cooler with all the bypass flaps and everything installed in my vehicle, because the part number of my vehicle was under that campaign. So it is a very good bonus. For information, my vehicle is not under warranty anymore, so it was completely free for me, and why not to use that opportunity if BMW factory offers that. And actually this is very generous from those, because believe me, not every factory, not every automotive factory in the world will admit their errors and issue technical campaigns that will be solving the issues of their cars even after the warranty has expired. So it is very, very generous from BMW, and thank you them for that. Now you have seen how you can get information about if any technical campaigns are available for you or not. Next step will be fixing those, because if you just know that you have some issue but you do nothing about that, there is no help of that. So if you are a more advanced user and you know how to reprogram your car, how to deal with that, as majority of my subscribers are, we will be doing it by ourselves. As you have seen, I have replaced my EGR cooler at my closest BMW dealer because it was free for me, of course. I highly recommend for everyone to do it the same way. But reprogramming the ECU, there are two options. You can reprogram your BMW using the ISTA or with the ACs. I'll be using ACs. Why? Because on my BMW F34 I have made a lot of different retrofits. One of those was retrofitting the new head unit, the MBT Evo. What does that mean? If, for example, I will visit BMW dealer and they will try to reprogram the whole car according to the technical campaign, actually they will fail, because the vehicle order on the BMW server and in my car is totally different. If they connect the ISTA and try to reprogram, the ISTA will look for entry nav head unit, but I have already MBT Evo over there, and they'll just not succeed that. They will, in the worst case, they'll be just unable to proceed. In the best case, in the worst case, the ISTA will start reprogramming, it will fail, and everything goes wrong. That's why I highly recommend you to use ACs for reprogramming the single ECUs, as we will be doing today. If you still hasn't subscribed to my channel, please do so. That will definitely help my channel to grow and will motivate me to create even better videos for you. Now it's time to go to my garage and let's put hands-on BMW, fire up the ACs and reprogram that engine ECU to make it work properly. You have to understand that reprogramming the vehicle is a very risky process. If something goes wrong, it will just break your ECU and your car will not leave the garage. That's why before proceeding with the next step, make sure you have seen my previous videos as ACs for Dummies, where I'm explaining in a good detail how to connect to the vehicle, and also where the video where I'm explaining how to flash the software of the Alpen software in your gearbox. Over there I'm telling some additional parts about programming the vehicle, what are the preconditions. We have the power running, everything is connected, so let's proceed. If you have been watching my channel for a while, then it will be not surprise for you how to establish a proper connection. During that video I'll skip all the basic parts of the reprogramming of ECU, but of course I will make a good pace in the places where more details are needed. So let's go. In establishing connection, there is nothing special about that, just make sure you're using the proper databases. As you can see, I have the latest one available for my vehicle. I'll be using the eNet cable. Reprogramming with the eNet cable is totally fine. So the right chassis, everything is okay. Press connect. Connection established, that's a good one. Great. Before reprogramming whatever ECU, I always do recommend for you, try to code it. just regular coding. We'll be working with the engine. Just try to recode it. If ECU responds properly, you'll be able to recode it and no issues with that. If something is wrong during the coding, do not proceed with the flashing. It's just a friendly advice for you. Yep, engine ECU coded well, so it's okay. Let's make all the needed calculations for the flashing. Which buttons to press and so on. I'm aiming to create ACES manual for dummies for programming also. There I will explain exactly why you have to press that and that. Calculation of the software might take some time. It depends how many ECUs do you have, what are the difference in the software, and so on and so on. So calculation has been done. As you can see, we are interested in the engine ECU. We can see that bootloader is not going to be updated, but two software files will be updated. As you can see, there are some changes from version of 19 to 22 and from 19 to 22 as well. So those differences are not huge one. My previous update was done. Actually, I will tell you when I've done it. I guess it was done in 2019. Yes, my previous update was July of 2019, and actually up to the latest update there was no update for ECU, for engine ECU, but BMW has released a newer one. So let's save all our needed files. It is SF34. Let's calculate transaction list. Save it as well. Just some additional information for you. Remember, at the beginning of the video I told you that it's impossible to update that car with the ESTA anymore due to different retrofits. Okay, ignition went off. So as you can see, the ESTA, not ESTA, ACES, tries to see the ATM ECU, and actually it cannot find it. And also, FEM body is okay, but for example, the ACES with the current FA, the vehicle order, it tries to see enter nav ECU, and actually it sees NBT2 ECU, so NBT Evo. That's why, due to those changes, it will be impossible to update the current car with the ESTA. That's why I'm using ACES, and I always prefer and recommend to you to use ACES for flashing the vehicle. Let's go to the expert mode. Let's upload all our calculated files. And actually, if we highlight the DME engine ECU, we can see software will be deployed and a coding file will be deployed, and we are good to go. Just check, power is there, ignition is on, everything is okay, and we can press start. I have done that reprogramming process so many times that I even don't know how many times already. But believe me, every time I'm pressing the start button, my heart rate goes up, because if something goes wrong, it will be really difficult to restore that vehicle. One very important notice, of course, after reflashing the engine ECU, all the data inside that will be restored to the factory settings. So I have stage 1 chip tuning in my current car. I will lose that, but no worries, we can make it again. Not today, that might be the topic of another video. If you're interested in that, leave a comment. And actually you can see some kind of error occurred. and software did not went in properly. So if it will not go through on the second time, we will have totally another topic of that video, how to restore the engine ECU in case of failure. And actually, that's a really good case. You can see the software did not went in properly. So if you go again to coding tab, read ECU, we will have corrupted software in our engine, and at the moment that car will not start anymore. Let's just make it sure. I can disconnect the power supply. I'll try to start the car and I will fail. No worries. That will be even more interesting. In that case, I can show you how you can reprogram ECU again in case of whatever errors. So as you can see, a lot of different errors in the car. I shall not start the car straight away because my power supply is connected, and if I do so, I can burn my power supply. Let's just turn off the power. Disconnect all the cables. And let's try to start the car. It will not happen because software did not went in. But anyway, let's try it. I'm pressing the button, I'm holding the brake pedal, and nothing happens at all. Engine is not even cranking. So the car is dead. So what's next? We have two options. Either buy new BMW or start investigation. Why did that happen? First, let's see the ACS log, what went wrong, and then let's try to reprogram the ECU again so we can again use our car. So let's open up the log file. In the ACS sometimes it's not convenient to see it. That's why I always recommend you to copy it and then go to the desktop, create txt file, name it somehow, insert information there. In that case, you'll keep your log file and nothing will happen with that. So let's see what happened. So we see that software file, that kind of software file, went in for only 4%, actually total 4, for that one it was 6%. SV deploy. So then some kind of error occurred. So basically, yes, just transaction was corrupted and that's it. And for the second time, we can see that 0% of the software went in. So I might assume there is something wrong with the connection to the vehicle. Yes, it might be that case. I'll just save that log. So the steps I'm going to do next, because I have seen that in the first try, the 6% of the software went in, and the second try, 0, so just nothing. I would recommend to disconnect everything, restart everything, connect again, make again all the same calculations, and press the start button and see if it helps or not. So the situation at the moment is that I have made restart everything, computer, car, ignition, everything, all the connections, have rechecked everything, and now I'll make exactly the same situation, the same procedure again. I will use another version of the ACS with the same databases. I will use ACS 3.34, just because different versions of ACS might treat software a bit differently. That's why it's not a bad idea to have different versions. Also, at the moment, I can hear that my fuel pump is constantly working. What does it mean? It means that when ignition is on, it is working and consumes extra power from my battery. So if I did not have any additional power supply, my battery will be drained even quicker than it should be. That's why having additional power during the reprogramming process is just must. So I have fired up the ACES version 3.34. Let's establish the connection. Let's choose the right chassis, F20. And we can see I'll disable the gateway connection. Actually, direct connection, gateway only. Via the VIN, connect. Yes, we are connected to the car. Let's read out in the coding tab at the moment. As you can see, the DME, we don't have coding file, and one of the software files is corrupted. That's why even the starter is not cranking. So the car is basically a brick now. It's unable to move anywhere. And as I told you, it doesn't matter how many times you have done that, it is always risky procedure, and you always have to have plan B. Because in the car there are some very critical ECUs like DME or DDE, the engine ECU, the EGS, the ECU for the transmission, and the CAS, car assess system. Those ECUs are so critical, and also that central gateway. If something happening with those, your car is a brick. If you will fail during the, for example, reprogramming the climate ECU, yes, you will not have the climate, but at least you'll be able to drive the car. But in our case, it's definitely not the case. So the calculation has been made. I can see all the files are good. I like those. Let's save the calculations. I always do recommend, if you had any crash or whatever, do not overwrite any files before you complete the full process. That's why I just use another name, because you never know when you might need those. Let's press save. Again to expert mode, TAL processing. Let's load up our TAL. It is transaction list, but number 2, it's new calculation. Definitely uncheck all the boxes. We need to work only with the engine ECU. We can even load SVT Sol also. I haven't loaded it last time, but actually it is definitely not the issue why it went wrong. We should be okay. Parameters are okay. Now let's highlight the engine ECU. Let's check. Yes, power is on, ignition is on. We are good to go. All the connections are physically okay. And let's press start. And let's see how it goes. ACES has made all its calculations. It's starting to deploy the software. 0% at the moment. Last time we had an error on the first file on the 6%. And on the second try we were unable to put any software there at all. Okay, it's our second try, and we see the software starts going in. Last time aborted on 6%, it's already 7%, so we are more far away than the previous time, but it's not finished yet. Until there is 100% on both files that needed to be deployed into the ECU, it's not over yet. But so far, so good. During the flashing process, there is actually nothing you can do about that. You can just cross your fingers and pray that the process will finish successfully. That's it. The most common mistake during the programming is not having the additional power supply. Mistake number 2 is when you're flashing the bigger ECUs, you're working on your knees, you put the computer to programming, and you can see, okay, the process will take for half an hour. Of course, you don't want to sit half an hour here. You try to put your laptop to the side, and then with your leg, arm, or whatever other part of the body, you just pull out the cable, and that's it. one file went in 100%. Now it's time for the second file, 2 of 2, and second file start going in. That's good. Have a look to that counter over here. It's constantly bouncing from 19 seconds to 10 again. So it's exactly same precise as all the time calculations inside the Windows. Do not trust those. And now we can see everything is green and it has written successfully finished. That is the result we were trying to achieve. Let's go back to the coding tab, read ECU, and we can see again our DME has coding file in it and no corrupted files, and 022 software is inside it. So it is a good result. Now let's check if our vehicle will start or not. There's still some error present in the car. Just turn off the ignition, it doesn't matter. And now the moment of truth. Let's try to start the engine. And engine is starting. So it is a safe. We can see check engine light is burning, so it's definitely not good. We'll have to make diagnostics to see why it's happening there. So now our vehicle is starting again, it's good. There is check engine light burning over there. It should have been burning there, it was not burning before, so there's definitely something wrong with that. It might be the case that on the first time we have created the error and all the errors are recorded in the EEPROM part of the memory, but we are rewriting only the flash part, so that's why it is highly likely that erasing of the errors is needed only, and it will be okay after that. So let's fire up the ISTA and see what do we have inside the vehicle. The problem with the ISTA is that after reprogramming the vehicle there will be a lot of errors in different ECUs. ISTA will, during the reading process, try to analyze all those errors, why they happen, and so on and so on. That's why it will take a bit more time than it should be taken. I'm a bit short in time today, that's why I'll be not using ISTA. I will use ACES Plus. Let's have a look here. As you can see, I have launched the ACES with the Plus launcher, and it has just awesome built-in feature over here. If you go to diagnostic trouble code, you can see all the errors. You can press refresh. It will scan for all the errors. Yes, it is not as precise as ISTA will be, but actually it can tell you a lot of different information about the different ECUs. Let's try to find our engine ECU, and actually in that list at the moment I don't see the engine ECU. It means there is no error in the engine ECU, and check engine light is caused by whatever other circumstances. Let's close it, read it again, 0 errors. Let's try to start the car, refresh. Good, no errors. And actually on the dash, check engine light is not burning anymore. I'll show you in a second. For everything to be okay, I'll start the car again. You can see check engine light. It's not showing up anymore. I can even turn on the ignition again. Start the engine, all is okay. And it's done. I have made the BMW technical campaign in my garage by my own. As I have warned you, flashing process might be risky, and if something goes wrong, you will have a brick in your garage. I also have showed you how to recover your ECU if it was damaged during the programming, whatever went wrong. So always, I say always, use the extra power supply for the programming, because if something goes wrong, you will just run out of the time. And if there is no electricity, you just cannot recover your ECU. The minus side of that kind of procedure is that it will be not written in the vehicle history of your car. So if you're making the same process at the dealership level, they will make a mark in the vehicle history that your engine ECU was updated it might help you during the selling process of your car to the next owner and so on and so on. But if you don't care about that vehicle history so much and you are willing to make all the process by yourself, you can make it. If you do like my videos and did not subscribe yet to my channel, please do so. Also hit the like button, leave the comments what do you think about that, and see you next time. Bye.